2 Miramars over on those dusty dunes, and it'll be reflections as well as John taking you through that one. But for now, let's get right into this third match. And look at that play path. Yes!
Far more central, mate. This is what we were hoping for. Obviously, last time around threw us off a little bit with some of the hot drops we were expecting and some of the rotates we were seeing. So the secondary drops were called out. Things should be a little bit more cleanly cut here, and we'll see if there is overlap. In a weird way, again, it does actually kind of scare me if we do see Power going for the potential play that we could expect here with the hard drop. We'll see, mate. We'll see.
Heading straight back down towards Milta, but Influence Rage is going a little bit further here, so Power should be able to hold on to this one. That feels bad.
Yeah.
The Influence Rage is not going back to Milta Power despite just demolishing you in it, so it's kind of like a pity play that you've been sent your way. I am curious to see if Pachinki is held solely by Team Falcons this time around.
By the fact, again, actually, we do get sort of the distance there from Team Secret. We do seem to be playing this far slower wick of the game. Let it burn late into the night, you know, don't want that one to burn quickly.
Yeah.
Although I will say the problem was the minute they were actually throwing a bit of a broader sword, it was panic stations. That's where it went wrong.
Well,
right?
there was no parries.
No.
There was absolutely no parries involved there at all. Even the dodge roll looks sluggish on the side of Team Secret. Heading on towards the Puffker as well, and I do have something to say about the Puffker, is that although decent position, it's all right. You do actually see a lot of pro teams these days like moving away from the Puffker as a spot. If you can get somewhere further in towards the circle and comfortably play towards that, you take that. Even though that means holding over towards one of the west or eastern side of Yasnaya, that's fine. But yeah, we'll see how teams play this now. It is a pretty packed map already. But I think that Team Secret, after seeing that, playing in the Pop Cup means you have to push through a lot of teams just to get towards the initial circles, and those initial circles are over towards the southwest side. It cuts a lot of Sosnovka in, which is a bit of an awkward one, where you're not sure if you'd be heading across or not. It would be cool to see a Sosnovka this early into the tournament, though, Jackie.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. It'd be nice if we actually do get it thrown into the mix. I do love these wide splits. Sorry, just a highlight there. I know, obviously, map feed-wise, just looking at how Weibo are going to be able to rotate on this one. Nowhere near as drastic. Backline of the DRX late. But anyway, we'll focus up with what's happening here. You've initially got the POV of Alpha 7. Alpha 7, for those of you tuning in, of course, I'm sure you're aware, they are currently the crown holders, the kings themselves, who took the trophy last year in a rousing affair. Some incredible plays, back-to-back games where they were popping off.
ग्रुप चेंज हो गया शायद ना और क्वालिटी जाती है सही हो
And really, it was a bit of a nail-biter towards the end of last year, Blank. You know, you're thinking sort of them and Reject, like who's going to take it, which region's going to show up. Coming into this one, I was a bit worried with the result in the first game. Glad to see a massive show-up, even with it just being a duo that had to get so much done. Some diligent PUBG Mobile shown from them in the previous outing. How's the rest of the day going to go, though? Will Neptura's hot take become a reality? A back-to-back chicken dinner for them would instantly be the landslide of, all right, maybe it is going to happen again. Like, that's the sort of hype you want on a day one.
I think for Alpha 7 in particular, they're a team that really, when that momentum starts getting rolling, it's hard to stop them. They're very much like an avalanche in that respect. It's hard to deal with that, and if you're not careful, you are going to get covered and buried underneath the snow. Alpha 7 is going to be bringing down upon you. So I think that for Alpha 7, getting that win there, especially where it mends that relationship between Cleo and a Rebel very early on, where that could have been difficult for them. But that makes you feel really good, you know, because instantly, instead of having what would have been a little bit of an annoyance, right? It's a bit frustrating. Now you have a bit more of that brotherly bond once again, a bit stricken there in that map, which is cool. It's very cool to see, and I think that would help them. And I don't think Neptune is far off from the mark. I do think for Alpha 7, this game could easily be a good one.
No, absolutely. Even though she was smirking while she said it, the point does really reign true and could certainly have a lot of credence. And you're right, bro, you know, not cutting the cheese with the chalk. I think absolutely it's one of those where you would have been fuming with each other had you gone down off the back of that nade with
two key players as well.
Right? And you won it, and like you say, it's probably love, everyone's having a good time, the boys are back in town. And DRX, they were in town.
Yeah, unfortunately, DRX went to town, you know, it's like boys' night out. You're going to lose one of them eventually.
Where's he gone?
और पिछली बार भी सेम चीज हुई थी DRX का एक प्लेयर मरना ही मरना है
Stayed in the lane.
The DRX down to just 3 players there. They had a good start today, but if you look at that, 19 points, that's all the points they earned there on Sandpot.
True.
They earned nothing on that last game, and I think that for Arangel it's a very important map to be able to perform on, so I'm very unhappy to see them go to Arangels with nothing to show for it. The Falcons, though, we were talking about earlier, you were talking about beating the hot hand. I like what the Falcons are doing. I do worry a lot of times about the Falcons in terms of their more passive gameplay. I think that there are definitely moments where I think Redox and Narvalo certainly need to take a leaf out of Koa's book and just be a bit more aggressive. And it's funny that one of those passive players on this team, historically at least, Ralph is one of the players who I think has been the most influenced by Koa's gameplay. So yeah, I think that that's what I'd like to see from that team, especially here where they have the ability to experiment a lot. But it's nice to see them having just continued success.
Yeah. It's hard as well because it's a double-edged sword when you have such a really... You can see the excitement that's going on there. Everyone's cheering after they get an elim, after they make a play. Yeah. That goes both ways. If suddenly everyone goes quiet, you notice it, and you know it's for you. You fall alone.
Dude, even in PMSL EU over towards Turkey side, right? When they were playing there, they looked stressed on their bad games.
All eyes on you, bro.
They look stressed on their good games. And I think that there is a lot of riding. There is a lot of riding here. I think personally, if they can at least get to the top 8 after this group stage, I think they'll feel so much more comfortable. Just going straight through to the finals there and not having to deal with it, that will be the ideal scenario.
I mean, even if you think about just the fact, we were saying like, oh, everyone is literally forced to stare at Alpha 7 on a pedestal, on a plinth, literally in the arena. They were called out by name. They were there. Everyone else sees Falcons as well, separated from the rest of the squad. It makes you kind of have that animosity of, we should take them down. We should make sure, you know, that extra oomph on the other teams where some people thrive on that. Like those little elements come into your mental game. It affects how you play PUBG Mobile. Suddenly it starts to change a little bit. You see those targeted fights. It gets spicy. This is more of a story we'll develop over the course of the event. We'll see how that starts to ebb and flow. But it's just something to have in the back of your minds for the viewers at home. Weibo, I think it's been, I'd say, nice, at least in terms of the way they have been playing to their strengths. They've had some really crazy dives, crazy rotations, but they've made it work, so I can't fault it too much. It's obviously just not been the best in terms of converting it into actual placements or eliminations.
I think that there's one region that just will make those kind of plays, and it's something that I always massively adore about that region, especially that play from Suk as well. He's just running up the stairs. A lot of teams just won't take the opportunity. They won't make that play. But Weibo and that region in general is one of the few regions like Americas where it's a case of, we need high ground, but it's like a 90-10 scenario where I will get eliminated for doing it. But they will take that risk because they know that if they don't do it, they may as well be throwing away the game anyway. So they'd much rather take those risks early, which I think does put those teams in a much better position. And I think it's a type of squad that could get a very, very high elimination game over the course of this group stage. We'll have to wait and see. AX currently very central. We're heading around Gatka at the moment and just south of Pachinki. It's a bit more flat around this area. There is fielded area too. You don't really want to be heading down towards Ferry Pier because you're cutting yourself off the sight lines. There's a fair amount of water in this one. We were worried that it was going to go down to Sosnovka. It didn't do that, so a lot of teams can now consider coming back up. Power, I think it's reasonable to head towards Sosnovka. It was one of the few plays they had in the back pocket on the happenstance we did go down towards that part of the map. They would have had a fantastic position. Now they've got to figure out how to get across.
Yeah, something to potentially keep your right eye on, whilst your left eye's on this side. We can touch on Hori a little bit as well. I think, again, it's one of those where they had some unfortunate encounters, like no fear. In terms of the timing and the setup he had, it was really good cooking with the nades. You could see, like, he had his understanding down to a T, mechanics were nice. He was just hit from the side, where it was a really sick off angle for DRX back in game 1. Again, I think that's a team that potentially if they're not sort of showing up too much, maybe you start to underestimate them, they'll find a way to start to climb, because there's a ton of talent there. They do just need the opportunity to display it. We've seen a few bits from Squash, but it's interesting, obviously, we've not really had as much opportunity to keep our eyes on him. I'm curious to see how he's going to build over the course of the event, because I feel like, again, man, it's a lot you're thrown into here, you know, like the live environment for him, you're coming in, all the pressure on as you've got the trophy.
ये चीटिंग में नहीं आता क्या?
Your team won it, you've got to live up to that again this time. Showing us the moves at the minute. Vision, Arena that grabbed that. With Joker showing up consistently. He's been the big dog, I'd say, so far for Arena.
Yeah, it looks like he's enjoying himself as well. I think for Vision, there's been a lot of times where, if I'm quite honest with you, the awareness hasn't been great.
That's fair.
Hasn't been great in terms of where they're playing. I mean, we even saw that from, I believe it was E-Arena again on the last Erangel, where they were on a split over towards the top side. They're able to just move in there and immediately isolate them. So I think for Vision, that is something that needs to definitely be improved, which is just the overall awareness around the map in terms of that scouting, because teams will be taking opportunities absolutely anywhere they can find them. These are the best teams in the world coming to the PMWC, the PUBG Mobile World Cup. Right, this is not an easy stage. It is not an easy stage to play it.
Quick shout out to the production team, by the way. Loving these transitions. They've been nice. They've been really nice. It's good setup when we do get our circles coming in. Pat on the back. You guys are killing it. Everyone is. It's been a good day so far. And of course, this is the halfway point. It's why it really starts to matter. We get a feel for how things are looking, the lay of the land as we develop into the later portion of today's games with the zone on the move.
I think that's Toshpik actually going down there for Regnum Caillou. He's a bit split off from the rest of the team. They were making that move out down towards the south side, and I think he just gets caught one of the stronger positions because it is so open ground around it. That's risky playing in this corner, but he needs to get back across. I think he's worried about the sight line. Yeah, very, very worried about it. But there is so much area around here. Is that an arrow been sent his way?
It might be.
Just locking him on the door.
Yeah, this is kind of naughty. I mean, you've just got them pinned, effectively. Like, obviously, smoke wall up, try and play behind, stay tucked in, but you don't have an opportunity to aggress on it. Like, the timing on the face from the angle they've got with the high ground, you should have the shot every time.
Yeah.
Attention is somewhat split, though.
I want to know if that was Sook, because there's been a lot of talk about him actually carrying the explosive bow and arrow around a lot, just to lock players down in position. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. That was pretty terrifying there for Regnum Caillou, but they can play that spot. They can certainly play that position.
Gets the first shot back over, but the first knock is the most important. Quick reposition, got to try and get himself out of dodge, takes the damage from the drop and the bullet from the side, so the RX they've got on the other side as well.
Circle was where it encompassed Very Peer. You know there's going to be teams playing over towards Primos. There's going to be teams heading over to...
Yeah, he survived. As a solo, got those 2 points in the first game, but It's been rough. You're losing at least 3 players in the 3 minutes of each game now, minimum.
It's rough. It's really rough. And then needs to be a big change towards the end of the day. Looking at Four Thrives though, and doing really well. Second place at the moment. I was asked recently who my top 3 players were, and in that top 3, I mentioned Balak because he is one of the more exciting off-angle specialists. Yangdong.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting secreted on right now. There's the dive over the back. Secret again, it feels like they do better when fights are on their terms. When it's suddenly thrown towards them, that's when a bit of a panic kicks in. It was a little bit awkward. They are being at least able to find some recovery from it. The zone's awful for them though, right? Consistently thrusted further forward. They have to just sprint through this, try and take it headstrong. They do win out on the fight, but with the double knock, it's going to still take some time to recover from it. Meanwhile, Weibo again, they always show up when you least expect it, and nades are raining.
Why are they on the eastern side of the map right now? There's an insane rotate from them, which I didn't even catch. They were playing down towards that western side. Suddenly they managed to get themselves all the way up to here. Just wrapped around, and Fireflux do find them. I think they were looking for a holdout as well over towards Fireflux, but losing Suk is not ideal. Matt Cap's been an awesome addition over towards Fireflux as well, been finding a lot of success for the team. Where Ketch is no longer as potent as he maybe was in the past, Matt Cap has been pretty phenomenal at basically bringing him back up to level. Like, both of them combined make a pretty fearsome duo.
There's been some fierce picks as well that we're seeing from the sideline there from Hora, still being able to keep themselves in a good spot in terms of the eliminations they're finding, where it's not an overcommit. So nice shots, again delivering. Fireflux, it's interesting how much we've actually seen them really being in focal points of fights that have a lot of reverberations for the outcome of the game, but it never feels like it really gives them the oomph they need. They're always on the, the wrong side of the coin.
Yeah, that's a 100. Bruised by the nade.
That wasn't a coin, that was a grenade.
Yeah, it was. That was dirty. Heading through M79, trying to lay down some smoke in the meantime. It's not going to be. Solus does hit the deck though. So does Scarface, and this is looking more and more rough. So very good shots coming through from Regnum Kaya, by the way, from that position they were talking about before. They're currently holding over towards that north side.
Shame for Secret as well. If Team Secret were looking to build and compound off the points they were able to accumulate into Game 2, it's not really going to work out as well for them here. You go down relatively early, third squad to exit stage left. It's been a massive cool-off as well over on the side of Yangon Galacticus, considering how impactful they were with that opening game. But let's dial in here with Alpha 7. Mafioso, clean connection over the top side. Wow. AX giving as good as they get. And fair play to them. It's actually been impressive how good they've looked in terms of the amount of pressure that must be on this squad. You've got to deliver. Full commit on this. Push up with the DBS. Oh, it's clean for the first, but the bite back with the moves. Ravo starting to really bring the heat towards them. You've got nades running in from the side as well. Alpha 7 with a lot of targets on them.
Ravo canonically touted as the best shotgun player in the entire world. Hard to deal with him when he's flying through the air, gliding on the back of those wings, the DBS. And taking shots over towards you. It's Four Thrives, the backstab, and Alpha 7 was stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Noki once again playing anchor down towards that south side. I think honestly Four Thrives have a very, very good position here in the circle. And Balak with 4 relims so far during this game. I do think they have a good chance here. Now taking away first place spot. Nepturo unfortunately mistaken on that call, but this is a big push coming through from Hora. And where is Silas?
Where is he indeed? Horror as well, just getting away with absolute liberties at the minute. They're going for some big commits. They're actually completely flipping it on its head of saying, oh, you're kind of playing this passive game where then you suddenly throw the heat up. The tempo control is really good from them. They're keeping the other squads guessing. It's been great fights. They're starting to find themselves opportunities for eliminations. And again, like you were saying, as much as this is great for 4-5s, you've already been able to build up some points. Rest of the squads that in the overall rankings for the day, they're all gone. Anyone else that actually accumulated a nice amount have already been taken out. You can see it's the bottom end that is still alive with the overall points here. This could really have some chance to leapfrog you up. So this is a big game for a lot of the squads down towards the bottom side right now.
Absolutely. For AX particularly, they want to jump further up the rankings here. Horror as well. Want to show a lot of these teams what they've got to offer, but 4-5s could bump themselves massively up in this game, getting a lead of something like 20 points on the third match of the day with Alpha 7 and Yangon Galacticos being down early and Vision's only just breaking into the 20 points now.
Laura's still going. I mean, that's Vision being completely removed, blinded by the power of Horror Esports again here. No Fear living up to his name as the rest of the squad's playing with that. Sleepy and Sky back-to-back. 8 eliminations combined between the two of them. Some impressive maneuvers. And we've been obviously sort of touting, 4-5s, they're in a good spot. If AX were able to find an opportunity to get the drop on them here, sort of pick them to pieces from the sidelines with the scout setup they've got, it could be a bit of a change of pace. They've not looked too bad over the course of the day so far, but taking down a team like that would be huge for them. There's been a nice reset for 4-5s to get back up to all 4 players. That's unfortunate. You're trapped on the edge, nothing you can do. That's the last man going down, so we do wave goodbye to Fire Flux.
They've been stuck out on that eastern side for such a ridiculous amount of time. It was not easy for them, but Weibo, despite showing off some pretty cool moves around the map and having some decent rotates into position, they've just not had the staying power in these matches at all. Not been able to dig those boots in to the ground. Felt like we'll be taken down by Sky, which is, to be honest with you, the speed at which he went down, that was an unbelievable spray coming through from Sky.
Yeah, Sky's looking crisp today, dude. Like, some of the shots he's being able to find are really impressive, but it's the setup from them as well. The way they're actually sort of jiggling and playing off each other's contact, comms look really clean.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Sky has got a massive amount of pressure on him. And we had a nice interview with him at the start of the day where he was saying that I don't really see it as pressure. I just see that fans being just loving us as a team, and I'm going to try and do them as proud as I can. For Sky, he's always been a phenomenal member of multiple different teams. Now, I think he's found a very nice spot here on Horror. Yeah, he is the star figure on that team, but by no means is he not backed up by some of the other players on that squad. I mean, No Fear's been around for a huge amount of time, and Sleepy and Jiggle here really feel like they have melded into the team very, very well. So yeah, Horror's definitely a team to keep your eyes on.
I think maybe that's working for him as well, where it's not, the whole squad sort of playing against each other whilst being a team.
Yeah.
Being set up where there is sort of, no need for the ego. Everyone's happy to just set each other up, and it's working well, dude. Like, they're passing that baton brilliantly.
It's funny as well because Sky is played on like quite a lot of highbrow squads, let's say, where he has not always been the player that everyone looks towards and is like, that's the top player on that squad. So it must be quite nice to be on a team now where he is that star player, but he's still quite a humble dude. So, getting set up, and he's always there looking to capitalize, help his team find that success, and this is an unbelievable position. I talked about earlier where Regnum Karya tried to pick it up early into the game, and it would have had massive success for them should they've been able to hold it versus Horror, but they just came in very, very fast over towards that position. It was super difficult. They're on the outside of the circle now, though, with Nongshim, Red Force. I think that's Binny and Tizzy currently playing in a shack of their own, and likely Horror's going to struggle unless they can start finding picks on the outside of the circle over towards AX or Influence Rage.
Yeah, it's been good shots, but it's the fact that they're not really being fully able to convert off the back of it, with the cycling of those knocks being really just stalemated. Henry here, you get the POV from the man spamming over towards the side. Good split as well for the backside. Sleepy still gets the tag back in. That's an instantaneous shot onto Henry. And they really do just take him out instantly. Good read of the lay of the land as well. So Arian's trapped behind the vehicle. Bullets coming in from the side. 4-5 still trying to keep themselves involved in these encounters and snatch points where they can.
Slarek tried to edge his way down towards 4 Thrives, but was immediately shut down there. Henry, I think, was on 12 bullets left in the next magazine, so wasn't a lot at all. That's 3 loot crates, by the way, that I can see on the map there. And those could comfortably create some cover, but the speed at which Horror's going to have to set up this flying V is going to have to be very, very quick. Horror sends out, though, and no one's currently taking shots. Binny and Tizzy are currently encapsulated in smoke. One goes down, but it will be Aryan to go down next. And Horror efficiently gets themselves over there, but can they get their player back up again?
4 Thrives have been doing what they've been doing for so long here as well. The minute there's an opportunity set up by someone else, that's when they capitalize from it. So AX open up the fight. You see the weakness there on Horror. They come in for the sideline sweep, get some damage in. Nonshin Red Force as well, finding an opportunity to get one shot in from the back, and that's all they really needed. It's fragmented the squad. They go down from having 4 members looking really clean to just 2 isolated split on them.
I think it's good, though. Honestly, if I'm fully analyzing this, Horror makes a sacrifice and it pays off for them. Yes, they lose 2 players, but given that moment, it gave time for both No Fear and Sky to get further into the circle. Such an important moment for them where it actually could have gone really, really wrong. And that's what you want from teammates. Teammates who are ready to make the ultimate sacrifice for you in-game to allow you to get a little bit further, a little bit more points on board. Beautiful stuff.
That's what I mean, the lack of ego. You see it there. Everyone's playing for the big picture. They're not worried about the stats. They're worried about the placements. They're worried about how it results overall for their tournament run. That's a brilliant way to think about it. You've got the late backstab potentially from Influence Rage. I mean, that's Law, the solo member with Red Force trapped, living on borrowed time inside the hut. Near miss from the nades as well, dashing them towards them. 4 Thrives have been able to play on the back foot for quite some time, wait for everyone else to come towards them. Now they do have to advance somewhat. Horror, of course, with those 2 players, like we said, still could have influence. The quick trades are made. One shot back over 4 Thrives taking issues. Nonshin go down. Falak with the quick shot back over. That's No Fear out of action. And Law still just belly crawling further forward. I mean, look at the split here. A chance for at least a sneak into that 2nd place.
He had the 1 nade and the 1 Molotov, so could have actually efficiently cleared out 4 Thrives, but 12 eliminations, now looking for the 10-point. Bobs up just as he gets res there, and that could have been absolutely treacherous for them. And now nade's getting sent over the top, and it's unbelievably placed. Coming through with 4 Thrives, taking them to a 24-point game.
Massive scenes. Brilliant teamwork, never over-egging it as well. So comfortable playing their own game and always following up. If someone else went in for a fight, they were ready to clean up, ready to engage. Good rotates on it, and they're going to be happy with that one, but that is a massive gainer.
It's huge. You were talking about it as well, where you were saying that a lot of our top teams were just out early, and it was really only 4 Thrives still going there. I think off the back of that game, they're up to 43 points, if I'm not mistaken, which is a really big result. And again, a lot of the top teams went out fairly early. I think they're right now looking at around about a 20-point lead at least over a fair few of our squads there. But Horror was another story during that match, looking really, really good. Egoless team. And again, it was not only that, but just really good reads as well.
Yeah.
You saw Binny and Tizzy, they both smoked out their compound to stop
Pulsar Legionnaire available now. First outfit with special head animations and voice lines. The Pulsar Legionnaire set comes with its own super cute voice lines that can be toggled on or off.
What happened? Bye, friend. Hello, Earth. I'm here.
It also features the upgradable Hyperion ship DSR and Jet Reaver glider with special animations. Experience Parachute 6th 2025. What are you waiting for? Get the new Guild set now.
We start off our day in the Kadia Players Lounge, where they come for rest, relaxation, and refueling. And we have this gorgeous Kadia photo booth, of which we have a replica of none other than the key itself. I'm going to take this one with me. Across from us, we have a reaction royale, where players can test out all of their fantastic reaction speeds. Doc C, by the way, from launching Red Force, is only at 15th place. I don't know about you, but I think he could do a little bit better than that. We also have a lovely viewing station for all of our esports players to enjoy and bask in some lovely PUBG Mobile.
Fight in particular was normally making it a bit hard for them back in CSA, but the control they had with Phallic on the beams, able to clear all of power, man, 4 thrives. I was scared them going into global after CSA. How are they going to perform? All of my doubts have been already cleared that they know what they're doing. They have a game plan here coming into PMWC.
Yeah, I mean, from the interview that I was able to do with Phallic, that player is just oozing confidence, saying we're not really feeling any type of pressure. Everybody has experience, and that is showcased here in that last match. 24 points, 14 eliminations, being able to back it up there with the win. On top of that, you have Hora Esports, CSA pretty much just taking over Neptuna.
They really are. I mean, we love to see it, right?
Yeah, and again, it's very top heavy. All for CSA, look at that, 24, 16, 10, and then 7 and 5 and down below. So, wow.
Yeah, Influence Rage, kind of the silent partners there, even though they got the double elims. We didn't see too much of them. But yeah, 4 thrives and Hora coming in clutch there. Some really strong performances. Hey, I thought Hora were going to win the whole thing. I really did. But we can get onto that later.
No. Let's get into it now.
Get into it now? Okay. Hora overextended. If they had pushed over onto that player of AXTMG as they should have, then yeah, I think that would have been really good for them. They drive to the player, take out that player, take that player's position, and then they have full control of that northern side. They should have won the game there.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it them overextended. I think they just mispicked the right location to go for that overextension. If you go for the player of AXTMG, as you mentioned, they have already a car. They can crash it into the car of that one player of AXTMG. You have a little bit of a mini fort, and then there's no way Phallic is going to be able to just shut you down in the process. So it was a good idea, but I think there was a slight mispick as what position you want to go for, because if they do secure that, you have a solid 2-2 split. You're fully controlling all of the fields. 4 thrives can't really encroach on your terrain anymore. I think it would have been a Nepali win. I know CR7 during the watch party would have loved to get that win here for his team, but maybe later. Okay, it'll happen.
He's going to be happy. You know what? Match ranking, they were second, being able to clutch up a lot of points too. That's what you want to be able to do for some of these teams, because remember, there's going to be one group at the end of day 3 for group stages that's not going to be playing, so you might as well just be able to do as much as you can. Now, I want to rewind a little bit, Max, towards phase 2 of 4 thrives. They were doing that 2-2 split. You were mentioning them. They're taking advantage of APG not being here.
Yeah, really, they're just, oh, well, we know we're not going to have to fight Alpha Gaming at the start of this match. There's just no one's going to really try and contest it early on. If it goes back to military, we regroup south. If it goes north, which ended up happening, we'll send it back up north, have a very easy transition, hold on to Lighthouse, hold on to the gas station, hold on to the warehouse. They almost had too big a split, but because they're so experienced around this kind of terrain, they're just like, we know what we're doing.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, from actually doing that, made sure that they had so much info, they knew exactly how to play the next few phases.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the next plays they did after, I think you want to talk about their third party on Alpha 7 at XTMG, because that was a beautiful play from 4 thrives.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was playing to their strengths. If you're a team, as a team, you want to play to your strengths. Not every team knows how to do that. So for me to see them go, oh, A7, AXTMG, they're popping off. They're going at each other really heavily. We need to third party that, use that our strength, and then to not overdo it and not go over to AXTMG. Just take A7 and go, okay, we're done. We're going to go back. Really, really well thought out from them.
I mean, one player that absolutely popped off for 4 Thrives, and I mentioned it. I'm glad I mentioned it right before. I was like, the best player of Pakistan ever, Falak, popping off with 7 eliminations at 1,000 damage.
Okay. He's cooking. More than that. Oh, yeah, we'll have to learn how to say in Pakistani. We might need it for Falak in particular.
Yeah.
In the chat, tell us. We'll need a little bit of help, guys. But 7 eliminations, playing early on as the gatekeeper of the bridge, on the beams, trying to eliminate all of power. Luckily enough, he did get rezzed by one of his teammates who was able to play until the late game. But he was not giving up any angles. If he saw you, chances are you're living for 5 seconds maximum. Falak is being ruthless here in PMWC, and we're just 3 games in. He's off to a great start.
Absolute eagle eye, right? And the thing is that this is usually what you want to see out of your star player, Neptune. You want him to be able to put up stats just like that.
You absolutely do. I think it was a really, really good thing coming in from him. You know, we were talking to him. He was very confident, as you said. That confidence is starting to show. It's not being the overconfident. It's just really confident. And his team is backing him up like a champ. I mean, they have got that synergy down. So it's really, really exciting to see them coming out of here.
Yeah, and you said they're confident, but they're also very respectful of this lobby. You talked about the third party with Alpha 7 and AXTMG. They take Alpha 7, eliminate them. AXTMG, that's maybe a bit too much. You know what? We're just going to take it back. And a lot of teams might have just fully committed and pushed in like, oh yeah, we're just feeling pretty good after eliminating Alpha 7. No, they go back. We have a strong position. We're going to play it safe. I like when a team can be both respectful and aggressive. That is the true mark of a champion in my eyes.
One team that I do got to give a shout out to that you just mentioned was AXTMG. This team is not shying away from fighting top dogs. That was the big question mark. Is AXTMG, with the lack of global experience that they have, are they going to be crumbling? Is everybody just going to be stepping over them? That's not the case so far.
No.
They're willing to take those fights, and they're willing to take them quick too. And one thing that we saw is whenever they go into close range, it can actually go their way too.
It can absolutely go their way. My big concern with them was their speed. I thought that they are actually a very slow team compared to the rest of the lobby, and that actually they've stepped up massively. They've seen that, oh, this is where our weak point is. This is where we could fall down and get overrun. They have stepped up massively in that regard. So really, really nice show from them.
Yeah, you were scared about the rotates. I was a little bit more scared about their DBS game because as a region that hasn't played globally for a long time, he has the special invite team. I was like, is your DBS and S12K game on point? And I was talking to Ocean Sharma. He said, it's good, but I was like, is it good enough? Well, clearly it has been good enough for some of the fights, like in Ruins on Sanok, for example. So that's a doubt that's kind of gone away for XTMG. Seems like they can back it up. And I do also enjoy how they played this game. They knew they weren't going to win this match.
Yes.
After that encounter with Alpha 7, we're not going to win this. We're going to play it passive. Let's try and aim for top 3 with a few eliminations. That is really nice to see when a team understands we're not taking this. Let's just gather as many points as humanly possible.
And that's the player, right? Just gather as many points as you can. But let's take a look at the overall as we're halfway
what a
through day
lead.
one.
Whoa.
4 Thrives, 43 points. Hora Esports, 25.
4 Thrives, chill.
I'm cleaning my glasses just to make sure I'm reading that right, and it is. That is a healthy lead for 4 Thrives.
It's what you want to see in the group stage, right? When you know you have a day off at some point over the next 2 days, right? It's either tomorrow or the last day. You want to get as many points as possible today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at DRX in particular. If we're going to go on a negative quickly on the first game, they got 10 placement points. They have 1 chicken dinner. Quick math, that means 0.0 points back-to-back on their angle. This is the map you have the most every day, DRX, okay? You are the Korean team. You have the Korean champions here, normally of D plus Kia. You're replacing them at PUBG, kinda. We need to see more, and unfortunately, outside of Sanok, nothing's been happening as you go to the second page here. Quite a few SEA teams in E-Arena in particular.
When we're talking about teams that we need to see more out of, one that just pops into my head right away is Weibo Gaming. The hype that this team had, I was on that hype train too. Right now, they're just not being able to put up any points, Neptune.
I think it's just kind of odd, but I do wonder if maybe, I mean, day number 1 is all about kind of adapting, so maybe we're going to see some better rotations, but also they've just not really been in play at all.
Sook didn't find a bow yet. That's wait.
Oh, that's
wait.
right.
You'll
That's
find
true.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? I can't wait. Let's send that over to Barton because I want to see what's going to be happening here in Erangel in the next match.
Welcome back to the Qiddiya Arena, where we are halfway through our first day of the group stage. But don't worry if you're only just joining us, because I'm here to break down everything if you might have missed it. Game 1, we had Sandhawk, and we opened up with a bang. RX that went up against Team Falcons in a 4v3. DRX came out on top in that fight and managed to secure the first chicken dinner of the competition and 19 points. Next up, we had Erangel. Erangel kicked off from the start. Team Secret were looking strong, holding the east side of the circle and ultimately not letting anyone come in behind them. However, it was Alpha 7 who had one thing on their mind, and that was survival, with the duo of Carrillo and Revos reviving each other constantly throughout that entire map and ultimately defeating Team Secret in the final fight and securing 20 points for them. Map number 3 started off a bit slower, a bit cleaner, because it was indeed a lot of people switching up their drops as I am lowered down in the stage. And 4 Thrives have to have an honorable mention for having such an impressive day, taking out Alpha 7 as well and managing to secure their first chicken dinner with 14 eliminations. What a first day we are through so far, but we're only halfway, 3 more maps to go. So let's hear some energy in the arena, because we're going to go into our next map very soon.
There it is. We are halfway through. That's the important talking point. Halfway through today's maps, number 4 of 6. We hop back into Erangel, as Neptura said at the beginning of the show. That should be the bread and butter for multiple teams. However, it hasn't been. But we do have some top dogs at the top. Alpha 7 being one of them, looking to make it straight into the finals. 4 Thrives, though. John, going all the way, it seems. We talked about a point threshold. You're thinking it's around 80. 4 Thrives have already reached that.
They have certainly outperformed on today's games, right? 2 matches in, they are over 40 points there. That is half of the way to that metric, right? If you're looking at previous tournaments that have been played with a 12-map set, it is around the 80-point mark that you will see for 8th place on 24 teams. They've done half of the work that they need to do over these next few matches. It means that over the next 9 matches, they're looking, over the next 9 matches, they are going to need to look to put 40 more points on to feel nice and safe. Yeah. That is a pretty low average.
I would say so. We see some big games, but we were talking about it. Consistency is key, not only here, but also in life. Let me not get too deep already as my first global event here, but I will say 6 points or so you're saying I think is where you want to be. But granted, that's, of course, not counting the first 3 games. We've got some teams towards the bottom. Now, we'll talk about them over time. Power's been struggling, right? Nogshim Red Force have also been eliminated quite early throughout multiple games, and they're not the only ones, but I do want to say the race for top 8 to make it into finals is still very, very close. We've got to keep our eye on from Team Secret and above, and of course the home favorite Team Falcons in 9th looking to make their way up.
Yeah, absolutely. It is still very much all to play for at this stage. Because of 4 Thrives taking so many points from the lobby, that increases the volatility of the rest of the tables. It means that they're going to be closer to one another. It means that position jumps are going to be easier, or rather more difficult to fend off for the teams who have already got those top 8 spots. And it's going to be really exciting to see how that unfolds. I think that the most interesting team I saw on that table there towards the bottom was Regnum Kaya. This is disappointing for the reigning PMGO champs coming into this one. They need to step up. They need to step up fairly quickly. I have no doubt in my mind that they can do it. The question is, will they bring it to bear today?
That's the question. We got a nice zone. Liking it, potentially setting up for a bridge zone. I love bridge zones. More importantly, I love military, but most likely going over to the mainland. But I do want to focus in as we've got 2 teams maybe about to skirmish out over on military. Of course, talk about Fireflux, and you got Team Secrets most likely going to be running into each other. They could have a truce. Maybe they say, hey, you go over to the right side bridge, we'll take over to left, and we'll just go our own way. But if I'm Team Secret, I've been on fire today. I'm not going to be intimidated by anybody. And you want to talk about being on fire? Fireflux is quite literally there in the top 3 running. So I'm looking at them to potentially be one of the front runners in the engagement. But who knows? We'll see how it ends up unfolding. What else do we see?
At the moment, yeah, it looks like Team Secret might just be heading out to the east, disengage. West and East bridges both available still. At the moment, it doesn't seem like too much more is unfolding. I feel like George Pole is potentially a little bit of a hotspot for contest on this northwest side. 2 teams in South George, Alpha 7 up in North George. That crossing down south, that because of this first circle, is going to have to happen for Alpha 7. Could be under duress, could be a little bit of conflict in their future.
Yeah, but you got to think about who they're going against, right? It's E-Arena, who, well, let's face it, they've been struggling, only sitting at 8 points, currently in 13th place, and Alpha 7 being the top dogs they are. Winning that game, by the way, game 2 with 2 players was phenomenal. I could not believe my eyes. You actually called it early. I wasn't a believer until the very end, but able to get, 4 to 5 revives overall. It was Revo and Korea who was able to get that win. So if I'm E-Arena and, of course, having to rotate down, I've got to go against Galacticos. That's not going to be an easy fight for either of those rosters. So for Alpha 7, I'm still favoring them, but you're right. I think we will have a skirmish soon.
They could always break out further to the east, right? There is always that option to go for a wide swing, but depending on the pace that they can loot, the pace that they can get out of North George, they may be able to avoid that altogether, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. Team Secret, they did move all the way over to Novo. This is on the military island right now on your screens. They did move out east, so no conflict here for the time being. The question I have is, where are Fireflux going to rotate? I expect Team Secret to be going over the east bridge. I'm wondering if Fireflux are going to try and join them, because you're going to be aware that 4th Thrives are going to be on the other side of that bridge. And right now, I don't feel like you want to head towards this team.
I don't think so. 4th Thrives, they're obviously the top dogs for a reason. Will they be the top dogs by the end of this tournament? Who knows? But right now, they are undisputably the best with more than double the points, even over 2nd, which is Hora. But I would think so, though. You know, for Fireflux, I would go to the right side bridge alongside that at Team Secret. But then you have Power over there, too. And Power, I don't know. There's no reason for them to go too deep into the zone as of yet. Bridge camp potential, you think?
It could be. I mean, it does potentially waste a little bit of time. It looks like 4th Thrives are going to disengage from that bridge position over towards a more central location, up towards that hill ridge that sits further north, but there's always time to come back as well. We'll have to see if that yo-yo comes through. And actually, Yangon Galacticos on the move. Okay, so that opens the door for Alpha 7, which was potential for them to find that path on in. Getting very, very central, nice and quickly. Into 5 minutes in the game and already finding a central spot. Reckon Kaya looking to do the same.
Yeah, taking a little bit of damage, but they're going to be just fine for the time being. This is a team that was much hyped up coming into PMWC, a team that needs to start gathering points. As we said, we're on our halfway point. Only 9 more games remain. Yeah, you've got 3 days of group stage, but the teams only played 2 of those days, a total of 12 games. 3 are already gone. With the point race being as close as it currently is, I know they're in 12th place, I should say, but they can easily jump right up with how close it is all the way up to top 8. And, well, DRX on your screen, a team that ended up starting off the day hot with a winner chicken dinner. They're currently in 6th place. It's going to be nice and quiet for the time being.
Yeah, just bunkering down right now. Early circles, keeping it chill, keeping the nerves in check. Something that I would love to see is like heart rate monitors coming.
Yes, we need that.
That would be really sick. Although to be fair, 64 heart rate monitors, that sounds like a nightmare.
Absolutely.
To be honest. But either way, I mean, it'd be so interesting to see how these players are affected by it. Obviously, early game, you're expecting some low tempos, but you can imagine it goes through the roof in those final moments. Unless, you know, you're Revo and Carrillo in the final moments. You're just super chilling.
You know, Alpha 7 is one of those teams that are just always so relaxed, it seems, and you gotta appreciate that. I think that owes to their success. Falcons getting active, which good on them, the home team. I know the crowd's been going crazy for Team Falcons, as you would expect. A lot of the crowd set up actually right behind the Falcons roster, so they're hearing the loud roars every single time they pop off. For Team Falcons, they were center zone. Of course, they've got a lot of teams around them, but I do believe where they're currently at is, again, they're going to be chilling. Not a lot of teams want to fight at the moment. They'll do it if they have to, but for now, it's all about positioning into stage 2.
Absolutely. For the Falcons, they came into this tournament obviously as the winner of their region, coming in from Europe and qualifying through there. They won via a smash ruling. So if you want to take a look at that, make sure you go and check it out. But not yet, because we've still got more game to play. Unfortunately, it felt like some of the time, especially during the earlier stages of that tournament, they weren't quite as cohesive as they need to be to take on the global levels. They moved into the finals, and it felt like they had pieced it together, right? At the moment, they've got Redox, Koa, Narvalo, Ralph playing on the roster. It felt like Sometimes there was a little bit of disarray in and amongst the roster, but right towards the end, they did show up. I was worried coming into this tournament that those early stages would come back and that performance would recur. For now, it seems like they're holding their nerve. There have been 1 or 2 missteps today in some pretty crucial moments, but I think for now, I'm pretty happy with where they're sat, up in 9th place, 18 points. They've got this first point on board as well.
Yeah, it's day 1, right? Since only 3 games in, we talk about teams struggling, but you know, right now it's time to get your feet underneath you, get used to the LAN environment. There are several players out there, this is their first LAN, and it hits differently, right? When you're playing at home, you're nice and comfortable, there's no pressure virtually, you're feeling okay. When you come to the LAN experience, you got crowds yelling at you, maybe booing you, maybe cheering you. You got a mix of emotions. For Team Falcons, I think they're doing just fine, and you talked about their progression. Well, we need to see progression from so many different rosters, and honestly, for me, Alpha 7, I wasn't happy with their America's performance, I really wasn't, but I think that narrative's out the window. I'm feeling good. We shift now to mainland, and now we get to see Forthrise. They're going to gatekeep, of course, one of the rosters going across.
Fireflux are already trying to make their way through, but this eastern side is really heating up around Potato Hill. You've got Aura trying to make their way on through. Power leading the charge from that side of the map. Influence Rage going for a wide sweep out towards the north. The question is, where are they going to cut in? Are they going to go all the way out? Maybe challenge Alpha 7. There's potential there, depending on how far they go. They know they'll be on a home ground fight, right? Influence Rage versus Alpha 7. These two rosters will be familiar with one another. They could have a little bit of an edge in this fight potentially, or the same could be true on the other side.
Influence Rage on your screen. Been happy with this roster through America's second place. They played so very, very well. In fact, even outdoing that of Alpha 7 during the PMSL Americas season. Well done from them. They've not done too bad. I know they're in 10th place, but again, that point gap, that point spread is just so incredibly close. But we're talking 4 points from going from 10th up to top 5, right? So for Influence Rage, happy they're going to be on the dead side of the zone in the north. I'm very curious how that's going to end up paying off for them. I want to see them make a deep run. I feel like Influence Rage is a roster. They've been around. We've talked about them on the global stages before, but this is the year I think they're truly going to show what they're made of.
I would hope so, but it seems like they have always been the little brother of the region, right? They are there, they're powerful in their own right, but they just haven't been able to take that next step. Maybe they'll find that development here, but I feel like with Big Brother's Alpha 7 in the lobby, it's going to be hard to try and take that fight.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point, right? When it comes to Americas, it was a region that we paid attention to mainly for Brazil, North America. I know we've got our struggles. We're going to try and make it back up eventually. We're getting better, I promise you. But when you talk about the Big Brother of Alpha 7, I saw a massive improvement across the board from all the rosters because they know they've got Alpha 7 to battle against. Trust me, they wanted to win PMSL Spring Season 2025. And unfortunately, of course, some of them didn't, but for others, they did dethrone Alpha 7. Alpha 7 barely made it to this stage. Let's put that into perspective. They're doing great now, but I really do think Alpha 7's performance, them winning last year at EWC, truly made the other rosters say, I've got to step it up. You talk about little brother, they're looking to be the big brother now.
Absolutely. Try and have a little bit of regnal combat going on through. Take that throne away from Alpha 7. We'll be making sure to keep up to date to find who will be able to take that top spot. But is it even going to matter, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about that global interaction. Sure, you can increase the quality of those lobbies, but then how does that playstyle move into the current stage of gameplay? And with the experience that Alpha 7 has at this level,
right?
I think that is going to be a massive, massive hurdle to overcome for the teams looking to catch up. In a regional stage, sure, it's intense, sure, it's a lot, but when you put the international stage together, it changes the game entirely. It changes how the lobby plays, how it feels, everything about it, the lights on the stage. It can be a real task to overcome. Hard southwest shift on this circle, all the way out towards a pretty similar location where we saw this last match finished as well, out to the southwest side of Pachinki on those hills. You've got DRX slap bang in the middle. They've been hiding there for a long time in collection.
They have, and they like to play it slow, but they make no mistake about it. They can get active if need be. You push into them, you've got a heck of a fight on your hands. Half of the lobby, quite literally half of the lobby, have to now rotate into the next stage, and you got a couple of teams who are set up. And Talking about the couple, well, you've got them right here, right in front of you. Alpha 7, we talked about this fight. When was it going to go down? E-Arena landing up top alongside that of Alpha 7. Now they finally come and they bump head-to-head.
Mormon with the first blood drawn there. Revo goes down, an immediate looking for the refrag through the window. Not going to find it. Sliver of HP still there. And now with a nade cooking, it's Alpha 7 who are biting the dust more so than ever. Joker went down earlier, but now it's 3 players alive and Alpha 7 can't find the fights. Enike goes up the stairs and immediately with the pump action around the corner, Alpha 7 coming apart of the seams.
Alpha 7, they're falling apart. Carrillo, can he be the hero? Can he be the one to save the day? They're already in shambles. He would be the only one leaving this engagement. Influence Rage, mind you, they might come in for the third party. This fight needs to be finished up, but Carrillo throws a Molotov, and it's going to at least drop one from the arena. Carrillo going for it off angle, taking damage, but he has no choice but to push forward, and he's making the most of it. Alpha 7 refusing to lose.
Not yet. They will not go quietly. An Influence Rage on the south side looking to guard this one out. Carrillo, though, could slip through the cracks as a solo. It's a lot easier to go unnoticed, but unfortunately, the firefight around him has drawn the attention of their regional teammates, and they will have to move through it. Carrillo, I don't expect them to be getting too much further, but he could leave north side, try and get in amongst it.
Well, they did it as a duo. Can Carrillo do it as a solo? That would be even crazier. Don't count him out, but I agree with you. Now you're going for placement points. You're in survival mode, and luckily for Carrillo, Influence Rage has backed away. It doesn't look like they're going to crash in on him, so should be just fine. And while he'll be a solo, wreaking havoc on the remaining rosters. Falcons moving in as Course Vision now wants to take on the Falcons. Let's see how it unfolds.
A double roll up again as teams start to move. This is what hardships bring. Action left and right. Redox on the inside goes down first. The pump action from Never Alone and the flush as well. So Falcons fighting with 3. Navallo wins the trade. The pump action winning the day and a second as well. Koa's there for the backup. There's a nade. It doesn't sit. And Navallo can now look for this healing on the northeast side. Aura are nearby and it looks like they're going to roll in for the fight.
There it goes. Hey, Aura wants this. They need it. Points so valuable to catch up. They're already in top 3, but they want a little bit more. Vision taking damage on the stairway, but don't worry because you got Narvalo from the Falcons who's been holding it down. And you mentioned Horror. Well, here they are. Sleepy, no fear, starting to take the house opposite of Team Falcons. We've now lost a roster and all attention on Falcons versus Horror now.
Massive pickup on the back line of Horror as well, meaning they're 2 players on the inside. Losing that off angle is huge. It draws the attention out that way and a knock on the forefront as well. Falcons are splitting the difference here on the fight beautifully as they will look for more.
Narvalo, I mean, he has just been doing quite literally everything. All eyes on him. The tip of the spear for this roster to take down Sleepy and No Fear. Ralph also moving in as well. You gotta think they've got a power position. That stairway is always hard to push up though. It's gonna be a choke point and you know dang well Horror's gonna be looking straight down it.
Immediately finding these flushes as well. They beautifully split the attention. An off angle, a third party coming through from Power as they sweep through the back line, and it is going to be turning tail and running the story for Horror now in the rest of this match. 2 players alive. Sleepy's not long for this one. The point gets stolen though, and it goes over to Power.
So now it's Jiggle Sky. They're going to go in and dip. They're going to get within zone. They're going to play the survival game like Alpha 7's Carrillo, but I'd rather have 2 than 1. Either way, that's how it ended up unfolding. Power Esports, who's had such a struggle throughout our tournaments. Not one of the first teams out, mind you, so maybe good news for them. We talk about at the halfway point, 9 more games remaining. I'm hoping Power is able to turn things around in this area game.
We didn't really talk about it too much with all the fighting going on, but the circle shift was another hard southwest side shift, which means the Falcons had to move fast and early. Unfortunately, they weren't in the best of shapes to do it as Horror do finally bite the dust. It means that Falcons are going to have to crash in a suboptimal situation to the north side. Same story going to be true for Power as they have now wasted a little bit of time, I think it's safe to say, on this northeast side.
So Falik, he's going to be the scout, kind of breaking away from 4 Thrives, who are going to be just up to the northeast of where he's currently at, and maybe calling out Solus, who I believe is down, if I'm not mistaken. We do have a bit of a crash, though. Falcons continuing to get into engagements, and this time it doesn't work out.
Regnum Kaya, the ones to receive that in the ditch, in the divot. It's going to go down for the Falcons, and I don't think that their lone player is going to get to, hang on a minute, take it back. Koa with a drive-by onto Romeo, hits him with a runaround, and we'll be able to survive a moment or 2 longer. But really no safe ground in this central area. These hillsides are littered with Caltrops.
Yeah, for Galacticos, we obviously tuned in with them just a little bit, but they got teams all around them, including Power, but Power is not having a good time. Galacticos are taking them down left and right. Falcons also eliminated some heavy dogs already out.
Yeah, that was the final player, Koa, going down. He was not able to find any respite in the middle. And now, with 4 teams or so looking to try and hold it out, seems like Regnum Kaya want to extend their influence. A nade over towards Easy connects, and that is going to be a beautiful opener. 2 players now standing for Power as there's teams behind them also looking to put pressure on. Rolling on out, Regnum Kaya not going to let Easy go down, and the 2-2 roll around will be good for it. However, there is a sideline that they need to be worried about. Get the cover in. Wild low as well. The vehicle's going up in smoke, and Loxy's down all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's down, and I believe that was a third party from DRX way off in the distance, getting some shots out. And well, we got Team Secret also trying to survive. I mean, you got so many teams in shambles, and when you gotta go to these shacks, I call them the Death Shack, you're in a lot of trouble. But the teams have spread out quite a bit. I'm actually surprised we've lost so many rosters and players at this stage of the game.
This open field situation, this open hillside that sits to the north of it, these 2 hard southwest shifts followed by a northeast shift may be giving a little bit of pause for a breather, but still those 2 hard shifts that we saw in a row have really changed the tune here in the lobby. It's forced teams to take fights where they wouldn't have wanted to otherwise, and now at 18.5 minutes in, we're down to 10 teams, and a lot of those teams not looking healthy.
Take a peek at Fireflux racing against Papa Blue. Influence Rage just above them. Talk about Fireflux landing over on Military. Would they have a bit of a skirmish with 4 Thrives on the Western Bridge? That doesn't end up happening, so they're still alive. Now down to, of course, just a handful of teams. Circle closing in. Another shift about to begin. Excuse me, as Fireflux starts to get active a little bit. Luckily, they got on the vehicles. The question is, can Influence Rage, do they get aggressive? Obviously, they have to move. Do they set position up to the right-hand side to cut off Fireflux's rotation?
It's going to be tricky here for both of these teams on the southwest side, and Fireflux are first to move. For the moment, Influence Rage still holding in their compound near Quarry. And they're going to have to try and go in a little bit later. So Fireflux, where are they going to opt to crash in? They've already sent 2 players towards this Regnum Kaya stronghold. I don't know how that's going to go for them. We know that there's third-party angles on there. They're already getting lit up. Scarface with a slow roll around the side, but the vehicle takes him down. It's Regnum Kaya and Nongshim Red Force on the crossfire. Now the 2 remaining players of Fireflux going to try and send Long over to the north side. A straight cut through the circle on the western flank. And in the meantime, in the wake of that rotation, Influence Rage push in from the west.
Yeah, they're coming in, and they're going to be coming in hard. It's going to be a big push from them. Regnum Kaya needs to watch out, of course, as Influence Rage, a dominant team. Fireflux, I cannot believe that they're still alive in this moment. It's so unfortunate they lost 2 of their players, so now they've got to go at it. And well, Influence Rage actually looked to be crashing in on Korea, who's been a solo for the longest time.
He has been alive, and he's going to keep trying as 4 Thrives go down as well. In the meantime, Korea with his full send straight towards Fireflux. 2 players alive,
what?
But he goes too slow. No hop out to be seen, and Ketch finds a duck sitting in his sightlines.
That's it. And Fireflux, luckily for them, they will be dead center of the current zone. That's great, but also could potentially make you a target. You've got Galacticus, who's going to be just onto your left. Got DRX as well. Influence Rage, of course, are going to be moving in. We'll be keeping our eye out for Fireflux, and of course, at the moment. And also Team Power, man, I gotta say, for Team Power's perspective, just still struggling. I thought for a good moment they were going to have a great game based on the positioning on the north, but just got too rough for them.
They weren't quite able to convert here. Fireflux do finally go down. The last 2 of Regnum Kaya sidle on in, but Silas needs a little hand here from Wild, as they only have 2 players to go. Yangon Galacticos on the northwest edge also can put pressure onto this location, but they're being a little bit slow with it. They're more concerned about Influence Rage on the west side, who have been, again, very slow, very tepid in their rotational pace here on the west edge.
As things start to slow down just a little bit, shots are ringing out, but nobody really at risk of going down except for Lil Boy. I'd say Galacticos trying to take him down. They will do so. The rest of the Influence Rage roster, I guess, a little bit separated. Lil Boy maybe being a scout, can't get away. And that's so unfortunate because they had such a strong position on this side of the map, and now they've got to recover and make a decision. Do we go for revenge, or do we just continue to play the dead zone, get in there, and maybe watch our backs? Because, of course, you know, Red Force, they're going to be moving in just behind them potentially, but I think that's an oversight, leaving Lil Boy out by his own. But they're going in, they're crashing.
They may have expected Yangon Galacticos to go further forwards, in which case Lil Boy would have been in prime location to take those backstab shots when Influence Rage need to move up north. they overinvest potentially on that angle, and Yangon Galacticos have excellent wherewithal to be able to read that and take down that player at the back. Very, very cautious, but it works out well for them. And now they can be the ones to put the pressure on Influence Rage as they take a fight on two fronts. You could see on the minimap this vice grip that now sits around this Influence Rage position.
So they got to make a decision. Push forward, push back. Staying where you're currently at could be a death trap. And they look like they were going to push in onto Nogshim Red Force, but they don't make the full commitments. And in the meantime, yeah, you see them still taking their time. The more time you take, the more of an opportunity for a third party. The nade, luckily, just a bit short. Law is going to be okay. And with them hopping in cars, are they disengaging?
Well, they saw Silas rolling up, and I was watching Silas just there, and he randomly decided to send towards Yangon Galacticos. He did get a lot of info on their location, but he took a lot of damage in the process. He's slow rolling behind the vehicle, looking for a time to pop that first aid, but he didn't put the handbrake on here, and it is just going to keep rolling away from him.
Oh, the nade. Silas down, unfortunately. Tough break for him. We focus now on DRX. Reginald just up ahead. DRX has had such a great day. This fight should be no different, you would have to assume anyways. For Reginald, Kara, they gotta obviously make a bit of an impact here. For Influence Rage, by the way, standing strong, taking down the team opposite of them, of course, Nogshim Red Force. That's gonna be a great opportunity now to gain a couple more points to move up. Granted, only 2 players, but still, with that gap being the top 8, so close to them already breaking into top 8, I think this game could be very valuable.
Absolutely, they do have 2 players alive, losing Diego in that fight. They will be playing on from that southwest side. Yangon Galacticos disengaged because of this crazy play from Silas, so a little bit of a breath of life potentially into this Influence Rage position. Oh, Weibo though, find the pick off onto Lorazin, and on the back lines, that's going to leave Influence Rage on just 1 player remaining now, and that is going to make things real tough for them. DRX, again, been fairly quiet throughout this. They're up to 3 elims, but they have all 4 players alive. They're playing on this long side of the hill. They're going to start to be able to move up. It's Yangon Galacticos, DRX, these 2 opposing positions, and Weibo on the southeast side as well. Already on 6 elims, by the way. Having a brilliant game so far, who have a more central position here. The rest is dribs and drabs, ragtag bunch of solos.
Solos galore. That was from the early violence that we witnessed pretty early. I think, stage 1, stage 2, quite honestly. Law, though, I'm very interested in what he's going to be able to do, only because as a solo, he can truly devastate potentially the positioning of not only the last player from Team Secret, but also Weibo, depending if he's able to penetrate that off angle. So he could be a thorn in their side, depending, but of course, all eyes on DRX and Weibo. And Weibo needs a good game here. This would be tremendous for him. They've been towards the bottom. They were much hyped up. In fact, I believe even in the power rankings, Weibo breaking into the top 3 for our analysts. So for them, this game could be exactly what the doctor ordered in order to rise up the ranks.
You would hope so. For a while now, the teams from the PEL have been a little bit out of the spotlight, looking for a little bit of a resurgence here. We've got Undertalk to look forward to, but for now, it is just Weibo flying that PEL flag. Yangon Galacticos now moving on in towards Wild, but he spots him and immediately step up, spray down. You can't give him that broadside. Romeo feels the brunt of it, and Wild looks for another as well. 2 players rolling up, the spray down potential, but Wild will fall, and that will be Regnum Kaya out.
It's unfortunate. That fight was setting up for quite some time for Yangon Galacticos. Good on them. They stay up, they stay alive. Still 3 strong, mind you. So a chance to take this game is in, but now DRX also getting active. Weibo onto Yangon Galacticos up ahead. If I'm DRX, I'm now crashing in onto Galacticos, taking them down, because really once they do that, they control the entirety of the northern portion of the next stage.
The difficulty is what sort of angles do you expose to the south side here. There's this big saddle that Yangon Galacticos sit in. You can see DRX a little bit hesitant to go for the full send here. They're moving out to the west side as DRX do manage to keep that fight penned on in. Yangon Galacticos fall. They don't need to full flush. They have control of the north side entirely here. And now they can move back out to this eastern side and start to put pressure down south.
All right, so Team Secret, 1 alive. Meanwhile, you got a good old-fashioned 4v4. Weibo versus DRX. The overhead view showing you what's at stake. You got a little bit of elevation. DRX is going to be on the high ground. Meanwhile, the snakes in the grass of Weibo slowly inching their way up. The question is, once they apex that hill, is Weibo going to mow them down?
It's all on the smokes here in these final moments as Team Secret losing their final player. Well, hang on a minute. Take it back. Sorry, hang on a minute. Oh no, a little bit of miscomms on the spray down. Finally, orders there. As Sook can't quite connect. But now it is a full 4 versus 4. DRX, who have moved back out to this north side, have it fully under control. There's still an off angle played for her on that southeast side of Weibo Gaming. You can see that movement now coming up the hill towards that shack. And DRX looking to extend their influence here for South Korea.
Porter. You can't. I was going to say if you can get an off angle extend to the left, but it's a bit too tricky. A lot of utility was used from DRX a little bit earlier to take down Galacticos. I'm sure that they wish they at least saved a little bit of it so they can have this utility to apex that hill onto Weibo just up ahead. But at least the good news from DRX at the moment, nobody from Weibo really has like a tremendous off angle. Maybe suck over onto the left-hand side. But aside from that, like DRX with their wolf pack, it's going to be tough because Weibo's going to get up. They're going to shoot one. DRX is going to be able to focus fire everything onto 33Z, Order, or Zuck just onto the left-hand side. So honestly, in this position, I think I have to favor DRX.
It's all going to be up to the smoke play, right? Sure. You can really change the tide of a fight like this, especially on such a weirdly rolling terrain position. If you can create a smoke separation, you have a huge advantage. And you're talking about these off angles. Those can be assuaged with good smoke play, right? So it depends how you're able to target it. It also depends how much utility you've got left in these final moments. You can see that for Weibo Gaming, they've been through the ringer. They've got 9 elims already, but certainly on 33Z, there's no smokes, only one nade here.
He's the tip of the spear, too. With his forward position, he's most likely going to be the one to attack first. And you need the rest of the rosters out there to help him out from Weibo. Order's going to throw out a smoke. We're now repositioning. He's going to take the lower end for 33Z's. Got a little nade going past him, but he's going to be just fine. Weibo now also in a buggy. They're getting active. I don't know. DRC better be ready for it. Excuse me, DRX. Better be ready for this engagement. Weibo, they're starting to get sneaky.
Playing on in the smoke, he drops that, sits in the backseat of the buggy, get that little higher ground angle to look for the peaks, but DRX should know this is what's happening. And immediately these nades respond! DRX read it beautifully. They're like, what's that smoke doing there? What's that buggy doing there? Well, I think we know what we got to do. 3 pins pulled and 1 player falls. 33Z now looking to try and get an answer here. This res is going to be so difficult, Reflections.
I don't think they're going to get it. There's no way. Do you fully commit for that? Because you have to assume DRX is going to capitalize off of it. They're taking it slow, but once those smoke dissipate, they're going to get active, and DRX takes down yet another one. Another one will fall, and this should be the ending that DRX is looking for.
This is beautifully played by DRX, immediately capitalizing on that knock into the smoke. These smokes bloom on the top of the hill. They create sightline channels that they can play through. There's a res coming through for Weibo, and they do manage to get 3 players back up in an action, but Scissors forward now. 33 spotted, gets the knock. Is there an answer? Order looks for it, and they do find the challenge that they were looking for. Hurt is there as well. Looks for that backup. In a 3 versus 2 though, DRX still have the numbers.
DRX has the numbers, but do they have the wherewithal to figure out where Weibo is going to be up to? It seems like the forces are falling, and I think this is finally going to be the end, albeit a miracle play. DRX closing the vice grip, pushing forward. Weibo falls, and it will in fact be DRX taking game number 4 on Aragao.
Lying in wait, they move through the hills, a coordinated approach, a brilliant read onto Order's buggy rotation, looking for vision, and they will be able to find that knot, open up the bidding on that final engagement. Not enough utility from Weibo to be able to survive that final fight. They've got plenty of points though on the match, and they will be nearly level with DRX to find that one. 16 points for Weibo, and DRX up on 18, so a fairly minimal Elin chicken dinner.
To catch up to the likes of 4 Thrives, Alpha 7 to catch up to the likes of 4 Thrives, Alpha 7. In fact, they could have very well taken 2nd place after this game alone. Weibo are no slouches to take that 1v1 and win it. DRX on top.
Absolutely, a little bit of revitalization coming through for Weibo from the bottom of the tables, able to put a big dent in the necessary gameplay to find it. Well, let's take a breather after that one as DRX are able to take the 4th chicken dinner of the day.
Reach your impossible, Lenovo Legion.
highly anticipated addition to the Mummy Series outfits is here. Paired with the new Ice Tube Glider, the Polar Spectrophage set is just what you need to freeze your enemies. Or send them ablaze with the Inferno Feed set's new upgradable Chain Inferno Uzi. All the Mummy outfits are back. Get them all. Join now and collect the whole series to turn all eyes on the battleground. Event period, July 10th, 2025 through September 2nd, 2025.
Are you ready?
Smashed it.
One thing is for certain, there is an abundance of fans here in the arena. Influence Rage, talk to me. How has the performance from the team been so far?
I think we can do better. Yeah, we can do better.
Well, you're currently sat in the area of the crowd where all of the Team Falcons fans are. Is it a little bit scary for you?
Yes, I am.
Well, is there anything you want to say to the Influence Rage team right now? They need your support.
Let's go, Inf. I believe it. I believe. Let's go.
You believe in Influence Rage?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do it. Let's find out whether or not they can.
Well, it wasn't Influence Rage that got the win, but it was DRX being able to get the... It wasn't the back-to-back. It was the two-time winners of day one of PMWC at EWC 25. A big surprise, honestly. I was not expecting any teams to be able to get 2 chicken dinners in the first day. They were able to do it, Max.
Yeah, it was a back, break, to back. It just took a little break in the middle of that one. Got to try and do something. Same for Yangon Galactico. So you had 2 options. Teams just like fighting to just survive, and teams just like, we're big chilling today. And they were.
Oh, we've been wanting to talk about DRX. Another team that we've been wanting to talk about has been none other than Weibo. So let's go to the SMB head-to-head, DRX versus Weibo Gaming. And I mean, look at the damage that these 2 teams were able to put up, Natura.
Wow, that is actually a lot of damage, considering we didn't see anything from Weibo in that first half of the game.
No team is going to try and go for that wide rotate south or east to try and backstab you as possible. So very defensive play here. And because of that, they would get a second place with 16 points.
H-Max is Regnum Karya. Esports with 8 points, 6 of them coming from eliminations.
Yeah, actually a very, very big fight in the center versus, I think it was Fireflux is like, we're both from Turkey, guys. Let's be homies. Like, no.
To the center, except a few teams, and it was those teams that ended up getting that top 4 spot, at least in points wise, at least in that match ranking, right? So this game was very heavily sided onto those teams that actually held off from that original fight and just kept it to the edge, kept that quiet space until the end game.
I mean, there was one team that you wanted to point out too in regards to Team Secret. They had a 1-2 split for the longest time.
Yeah, they did. They really, I'm surprised they survived as long as they did, because like, you had a one player off into the hills right in the middle of where all that action was happening. And then you had the 2 off into the field just like hanging off, just checking out, making sure they got that placement. I'm surprised that worked as long as they did, because I think they got like top 6, top 7 out of that.
The game plan there is similar to what happened for Kara. We know we're not winning this game. Let's just play very split. Whoever survives. Yeah. It's like a mini battle royale in the battle royale for your own team. And they drag out these 2 players survive until the very end. And as you said, like maybe a top 6 position, get a few points here and there.
Yeah.
So they knew this game was kind of a ride-off. They were able to claim at least a few points. So it's not a non-game for them to at least get something of value out of it. You can even see as the replays here. DRX, the moment they start getting eliminations on WBG, they just claim so much control that... WBG just fell like a house of cards instantly.
Yeah, I like that quickness, right? We always talk about seeing these teams being able to react. Boy, did they end up.
Surgery or something, because he's got 10 out of 10 vision on both eyes. He was able to then survive that one a little bit. He sent it to the center. That was quite unfortunate that he did get picked off, but hey, if it's a full squad or a duo on that rank wolf earlier or a solo, they're always a threat in this lobby.
I mean, you got to remember, Carrillo did start off as a fragger. That's what he was known for. And wanting to become that, as they're still sitting at the top there with 44 points, Nemtura.
I'm just looking, and actually they are on top. You are exactly right. I can confirm. But what I'm looking at is actually DRX moving in. We had a big gap before this game, and DRX have managed to just smash right through that, double their placement points with that extra win. And now they are kind of threatening 4Thrives' position at this point in time. I will say though, just over halfway point, Max, none of our power rankings are looking particularly accurate at this point.
Yeah, as of right now, our prediction game is very off, which I would say is on brand.
Pretty bad.
So, you know, I wouldn't talk about it too much, but Yangon Galacticos, I was not really expecting much, but they are such an aggressive, oppressive team going into this. They're not scared of going for fights, which I like to see, because a lot of times you see underdogs just being a little bit too scared in lobbies like this. Like, we don't want to fight, we purely want to get placement points. No, Yangon Galacticos, if they see a team that have a very clear weakness, they will not be scared to go for that engagement on that position. So Yangon Galacticos, seeing them be this confident early on, is a very good setup for what's coming next.
I mean, and they showed it right away. They showed it from the start. One thing though, for everybody currently watching at home, from July 25th to the 27th and August 1st to the 3rd, log in to Summon Airdrops and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers to enter prize draws for official merchandise, smartphones, BD partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participant is guaranteed to win. Additionally, from July 25th to the 31st, vote for your favorite airdrop partner for a chance to receive a special gift from them. I'm going to be doing it. Max is going to be doing it. Neptura's going to be doing it. Don't miss this year's airdrop carnival and unbox your surprise, because we're all going to be doing it, and I can't wait to see what surprises we're going to be unboxing, especially